What's the best homestead, farm, and subsistence handgun? Today we're going to tell you, so buckle up. Hello, welcome back to LocaCarnivore. Glad you could join us today. Today we're talking, like we said, what is the best homestead, farm, and subsistence handgun. And we did a video a little while ago about the best handguns, plural, for this application. And that was kind of give you a battery. In fact, it was the 3, kind of 4, depending on how you looked at it, handguns. And we're going to put a link in the description down below so you can go check that out and find out what that was all about. But today we're going to narrow this down to what is the best handgun, just the one handgun that you should have for homestead, farm, or subsistence application. And I'm going to walk you through several criteria for both the gun and the caliber. So there's 2 different subsets here that we have to look at, both the gun and the caliber. And then we'll get to the actual best one at the end of the video. So make sure you stay with us all the way through here. Let's talk about the gun itself and the criteria for that gun. First of all, it has to be available, readily available on the market, not some rare one-off thing or a little boutique gun. It has to be affordable. Relatively speaking, relatively affordable. Guns are expensive now no matter which way you look at it, but we want something that the average person can approach reasonably comfortably on a reasonable budget. Then there's the human factors. Is the gun easy to handle, easy to shoot? Particularly, is it novice friendly? Can somebody who doesn't have a lot of experience take this handgun and work it quickly and without a lot of training necessarily? It has to be maintainable as well. And that kind of goes to the ease of use and the human factors thing. Is it easy to take apart and put back together again? Do we have lots of little fiddly parts? And does it require a lot of maintenance? Is it something that's maintenance intensive? We want something that is low maintenance or needs, just modest amounts of maintenance. And then there's support. Does the environment, the ecosystem for this gun, is there a lot of support for this particular manufacturer, this model or whatever? And then lastly, and this is it's going to vary depending on the area that you're in, but does it fit any regulatory concerns or issues that you might personally be facing? The other thing we have to consider here, besides the gun, like I said, is the ammunition. And again, the similar criteria apply to the ammunition choice as well, as the caliber, I should say. The caliber we select then has to meet basically similar criteria. Is it available? Can you find it readily? Is it reasonably affordable? Is it easy to shoot? Is it relatively simple? Is the recoil rational in the size of gun you're using so that it doesn't intimidate a novice shooter? And even if you're not a novice shooter, does it help you stay on target during rapid fire? The more power you have, the more recoil, and the harder it is to keep it accurate in rapid fire. The caliber also needs to be versatile. What jobs can it do besides just simple self-defense? And is it effective? Is it a chambering that is reasonably effective? It may not be the most effective, but is it reasonably effective? Well, when you sum all those up, basically you come to the 9mm. I'm not a dyed-in-the-wool, 9mm walks on water guy, but 9mm is a good caliber, especially with modern ammunition. It is as good as just about anything else, and it has the advantage of you can get reasonable capacity in a gun, in a reasonable sized gun because of the size of the round. It is effective enough, and it is affordable. And then there's the effectiveness. It's more effective than a .380. It's more effective than a .38, about on par with .40, .45, .357, those normal defensive rounds. Is it as effective as .41 or .44 or 10mm? Arguably not quite. But then again, it doesn't have the recoil. So it's easy to use, it's easy to shoot, it's got a reasonable amount of recoil, and it is versatile as well. Use full metal jacket, you can hunt small game with it. I've done that very successfully. It does not mess up your rabbit or your grouse or whatever, but it still has enough power to take the animal humanely. And the FMJ bullet just sails right on through, takes care of the animal, but doesn't damage the meat excessively. So it's almost like having rimfire, basically. And then, can you use it for other things other than self-defense? Yes, you can. You can use it for predator defense. Is it ideal? No. Frankly, I'd like to see you in 10mm and above, but loaded with good rounds, with solids like hard-cast leads or something like that. And a Glock, you get the hard-cast lead issue and all that, but you can use, the Lehigh penetrators. There's a lot of other ammo, even full metal jacket. You can use a lot of different possibilities there. And while it's not ideal, it has been used successfully to defend against, say, bears, even grizzly bears. So it's a good choice all around. By the way, do make some comments. We'd like to hear what you think is the best handgun. And as we talk about the different alternatives, which do you think would work or not work and everything, and what you chose. Maybe you're a homesteader. What did you choose? We'd love to hear it from you. So go down in the comments there and rip it up for us. If you're looking for more content, by all means, go to the link down below to our website, LocaCarnivore.com. Make sure you click on the store tab while you're over there. You can get some of this groovy LocaCarnivore merchandise. We'd appreciate your support on that route. Another way you can support the channel, go to our Patreon, show us a little love. Links in the description. Thank you. Hey, and don't forget to share this video for us, okay? Now, based on all those criteria, what seems to fit the bill the best would be a striker-fired polymer-framed pistol. And of course, the one that comes to most people's minds right off the bat is a Glock. And I would say that the Glock would probably be the best choice here. The reason being, we can, like if you look at the Smith & Wesson M&P line or the Springfields, as good as they are, they just don't meet some of the other criteria. There's not the support environment for the Smith & Wessons, for instance, and also for the Springfields. It's good out there, but it's not nearly the universe that Glock occupies. And, you know, I'm not shilling for Glock. I like them, but I don't think they walk on water. I'm certainly not a fanboy. Oh, here comes a Glock fanboy just to look over my shoulder just to make sure I get it right, I guess. But like I said, I'm not a fanboy. They're good, but they have their downsides. There's no doubt about it. I'm not going to enumerate them now. If you want, I did do a video on what I wish I knew before I bought a Glock, and I'll put the link in the description down there. You can go check that out. That'll give you the in-the-weeds deep dive on that. But let's just suffice to say, the Glock ticks off all of these points. It's relatively affordable. Are there cheaper guns? Yeah, but you're kind of pushing the envelope on quality, in my opinion, when you dip below Glock price point levels. The other thing is the availability. You know, Glocks are mass-produced. It's the most prevalent handgun in the world, frankly. 60% of U.S. law enforcement agencies, probably more by now, use them. Tons of different organizations, armed forces around the world use Glocks. Hey, and while I'm ticking off these points, don't forget to give us a big like. Make sure you subscribe. We want you on the LocaCarnivore team, and ring that bell so you get notified of new videos. The other thing about the striker-fired guns, Glocks in particular, they're simple for a novice. You could hand a Glock to somebody who's never shot a handgun, give them about 1, maybe 2 sentences on how to work the gun, and they'd be in business. The marksmanship skills might suffer a bit, but they could hit something that's, 10, 15 feet away from them in a standard defensive shootout situation. They could probably have a good chance of hitting something. And then there's the maintenance issue. Glocks are renowned for being able to take tremendous amounts of abuse in the field and still keep on running. Are they infallible? No. I've seen lots of shootout videos where Glocks have malfunctioned for whatever reason. So you do need to keep them relatively maintained, some basic maintenance, relatively clean. You got to keep them lubricated. Yes, Glocks require some oil to run correctly. And you got to feed them high quality ammunition and make sure the magazines are in good shape. But you do those simple things, and there's no fiddly parts. When you field strip the Glock, and we're not going to go into you got to pull the trigger and all that before you take it apart, all that stuff. The main thing is, when you take a Glock apart, there's not a lot of fiddly bits and pieces, like in 1911. That could get lost easily, especially like in the dark or out in the field or something like that, and then render the gun useless. So you've got ease of maintenance and low maintenance requirements. So that again puts that Glock and other striker-fired brands, but mainly the Glock, basically as that best choice for this situation. And then you talk about regulatory issues. We did speak about that. Frankly, again, the good thing about the Glock is most of them, almost all of them, are high capacity. Well, I call them reasonable capacity because you can't get enough ammo in a gunfight, frankly. I've talked to people who have been in actual gunfights, and I've read a tremendous amount about people who have been in gunfights or in combat, and none of them that I can recall ever complained about having too much ammunition in the gun at the time that they engaged in that situation. So you can't have enough ammo on board, in my opinion. But there are some places where they're going to force you into less than ideal magazine capacities Fortunately, Glock does have some single stack alternatives for you in various calibers, and you can choose from that. There's other ones out there in the market. There you have it, for better or for worse. And I know I'm going to hear comments. They're lining up already. I can hear the typity on the keyboards and the on their little phones and everything. You know, I mean, we welcome the comments, like we said, but that's what I think is the best choice for a homestead, farm, and subsistence handgun. Is basically it's a Glock or striker-fired polymer gun at the very least, but preferably the Glock in 9mm. Yeah, there's other calibers, but it's going to be 9mm, your best choice. We want to thank you for taking your valuable time to watch us here at the LocaCarnivore. We truly appreciate it. And don't forget, the ultimate act of resistance is insisting upon facts. Thanks for watching.
Mwahahaha!